break even. So these are the things which really help us to break even, and otherwise most of the time things are really tough for us.
Well, we understand that, and we're hard at work.
You Mukesh, am I right?
Absolutely.
Mukesh is one of the most senior filmmakers whom I admire and respect a lot, and he's done a lot for our film industry, and he's like a doyen of Indian film industry, and he's doing his best also to do whatever he can to support and help the younger generation, younger filmmakers and other directors and producers, so that filmmaking all over the world becomes easier.
You spoke a little bit about the evolution of the entertainment industry in India and how it is evolving. Could you talk to us a little bit about how scripts are evolving, how the themes are evolving, the technologies that are evolving in Indian cinema right now?
You see, it's evolving at there was a time when people would say that we are a decade behind Hollywood, but now the gap is becoming less and lesser because of the future generation, and of course with the social media and internet, and everything, all information is available with a click of your finger. So that is making it much easier, and it's just completely reducing the gap. And of course, in a way, our films, to a certain extent, the future generation and the generation which is working on films, the producer, the filmmakers who matter at the moment are, they're very focused in planning, preparation, so first and foremost, of course, is the script. Now, there was a time, half the time, which I've been working for the last 36, 37 years now in films. Most of the films which I did, there were no scripts. If there were scripts, they were done at the last moment. Or there would be just a rough idea they would have, but there would be no detailed script. So obviously, when there was no detailed script, there were always, there was chances where the producer would not really plan. And the director and, the team would, because there were last moment demands for the producer, and the producer really could not handle these things. And there was no professionalism to a certain extent. So the producer, like my father, made a lot of films, so he also went through a lot of tough times. Mukesh and a lot of other filmmakers of the past went through tough times trying to handle stars, and unprofessional and not committed. And it's not that they wanted to do it intentionally. That's the kind of situation it was. It was not that anybody was trying to be mean, but there was a casual attitude. Casual attitude, kya ho jayega? That was the attitude. But now, the stakes are very high, people are very committed, and to a certain extent, you must have noticed that coming and studying in America was a very niche kind of thing. A very, rich people could afford to send their children to study abroad, but now things have changed, completely changed. You'll find, I think, because as you know, the middle class is growing leaps and bounds in India. So even the lower middle class, and even the poor try their best to give the best education to the children. So there are a lot of children who have educated themselves and had this kind of education. They've come, either they've studied in England or they've studied in the United States of America. Like my daughter is from NYU, which is one of the finest universities in the world. And she did film and liberal arts, and then she went to study at Adler acting school over there. And then my eldest daughter was in Singapore, and my son studied in Los Angeles. So that way, I think all the filmmakers and producers and directors try their best that they have a certain kind of training internationally, have international sensibility. They come back home because basically they have to make films in India. Then what they do is, because the experience, what they can get in India is definitely as much important as what they have as academic education international. So with that combined kind of knowledge, they're trying to make films not only with Indian sensibilities, but there are certain filmmakers who are trying to raise the bar. How are they raising the bar? First of all is the script. They get the script ready. That's the kind of evolvement which is taking place. The script is the key. Content is king. So they work, in absolutely, and then they have this kind of script, and then they try to pitch the script to studios, to people. There are studios who, or there are certain scripts which are pitched to stars first or actors first, and when the stars and scripts are attached, and the star is attached to the script, or there's a director, or there is a producer who makes a difference. You understand, right? So it depends on who at that moment has that kind of value, adds value to the script. And with that, with a good producer attached and a good script attached, then he goes and pitches in the studio. So everything is, to a certain extent, is completely tied up before he can really start shooting. So once the studio is tied up, then the money starts flowing. Or there are times when the scripts, even to develop a script, the studios are there to give development money to develop the script. And but that's little, it's happening, but not as much as it happens over here, because over here, nothing moves without, to certain extent, the studios being attached. But over there, people are independent film producers. They are not really dependent on the studios. That's the difference. Then once that is done, then they try, and then the technicians and the other people are attached. Depends on film to film, script to script. If there are newcomers, obviously then the producer and the director call the shots. And if there are stars are not as bigger than the producer and director, then obviously even they make all the situation. And there are times when there are stars who have a certain kind of sensibility and who add value to a script. Then they all become a team and try to, make the film completely planned and prepared. And not, for me, for example, at the moment, whatever work I've done in the last almost 7 to 8 years with my exposure internationally, I believe more in preparation than really execution. I don't leave anything for luck. Nothing. Ye ho jayega. I try to tie up every corner. So what will happen if I go wrong here? What if it happens if I go wrong? My backup plan is there for everything. So by the time I go and shoot, it's so foolproof and so, everything is so completely, we are so prepared. If the profits are that much, I have to have that kind of profit. It might vary a little bit here and there, but definitely the profit has to be there. So I have to work that time. Now if that person, if the actor or a technician or anybody, when I made that kind of budget, if it doesn't come into that budget, I will try and take someone else. I have an alternate for that. So that's the way I think everybody is working today. Am I right, okay?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So everything is very, very professional. So it's becoming lesser and lesser speculative. And then we look out for, then we go for recce's, we, go for the detailing, where we're going to shoot the film. We come to Tampa Bay, we go to Georgia, we go to Canada, and we see which is best, who's offering us the most incentive, and we try to, so that by the time, even if the film fails, we should not lose money.
You've spoken a lot about scripts, and you're a very accomplished actor. What kind of scripts appeal to you now?
For Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay.
To be honest with you, I am not delusional. The problem with a lot of actors, I see in sometimes what happens is they become slightly, because I'm in my 4th decade. So what I try to do is the scripts which I feel will suit my personality, my age, and something which I've never done. I try to, do things which are completely out of the box. And one or two films which I do, which I feel, okay, fine, these are mainstream commercial films. And, like for example, I'm doing a film called Welcome Back. Now, like for example, my children, they didn't want me to do the film. They said, Dad, you can't do this film. I said, how can I? I said, you're leading a 7-star life is because of this film. Am I right? And I can't make the films I want to make if I don't do that film. But somewhere the film is a very huge, big success. The film which was made, it's a sequel. It's a kind of a franchise. So keeping all these things in mind, I've done that film. But the other things which I'm doing are slightly out of the box. Which I feel, where I feel I'm slightly doing things which will give me another decade. Every decade I balanced it out. How do I move into my 5th decade of being in films? So I try to, before people can tell me, Anil, you should stop doing these roles, because they don't go with your age or with your, they don't suit you, before they can tell me, I do it. But there are times when people say, it's too early for you to do such roles. But it's better that I do it like that. And create a certain kind of a foundation for the future younger filmmakers to start casting me. The younger filmmakers are not going to cast me in they will go, because every filmmaker and today and a script writer who has a certain kind of sensibility will see to it that his casting is perfect. Now, this kind of casting was never there earlier. Earlier, we had only a few faces and a few stars. But at the moment, we almost explore the world to do the perfect casting. Like, we are doing a film called Khoobsurat. And Sonam is there in the film because she suits the role, not because she's my daughter. And obviously, we got the script, then we pitched it to Disney. We sold the film to Disney, and so Walt Disney is our partner. It's one of the first Disney films. And now we were trying to get the leading man. They wanted to leading men in the Bombay film industry, Indian film industry, who I felt suited the role, but they felt that it's a, without listening to the script, they felt it's a heroine oriented. That we don't have a role in it. Or the director is not as big, or the producer, my last film has not done well. All these things they keep in mind. So that earlier we would get disappointed and disillusioned. We're trying to do something, but now these days we don't. Am I right, Mukesh?
Absolutely.
We explore and we look at the world. And there might be someone over here who can be the perfect leading man, sitting over here. Or in Tampa.
Woman. What a lady.